Subcommittee on Readiness. Congressman John Garamendi joins us. Congressman, appreciate it as always. If true, in that if this reporting is true, should Milley have tried to invoke the 25th Amendment or call the vice president?
I don't think there was time for that. That would probably take a good deal of time. You got to round up all of the secretaries, almost all of whom were acting, very few appointed, actually confirmed by the Senate. So no, I don't think that was it at all. Milley was just being extraordinarily cautious, recognizing a very, I don't know what word we want to use, tense moment, and being quite sure that nothing untoward would happen.
I guess what I'm taking from you is that you believe that that Milley did what Costa and Woodward report. So I'm wondering what you think about this, and this is also from the book, if their reporting is to be believed. Biden overruled Blinken and Austin's attempt to extend U.S. presence in Afghanistan. That also coming from the same book.
Probably true. Biden wanted out of Afghanistan, and he'd been, almost 10 years, 11 years, actually. He thought we ought to leave in 2010. He opposed the surge that Obama put together. Actually, the generals at that time, Petraeus specifically, really boxed Obama in, and Biden said, don't do it. Obama did it and went up to over 115,000 soldiers. Eventually, they were brought down to another number. So, yes, I think that that probably is exactly what happened. Did that lead to the chaos? It was a piece of it, but the real problem with the chaos was that the Afghan government simply disappeared.
That there's no question.
There's no question after
about that. I just want to get to this concept, though, about sort of what the chairman's responsibility is that you pointed out. If in 6 months, Chairman Milley had some serious questions about, say, President Biden's mental acuity, you'd be okay with him doing the same thing that he did with President Trump and trying to usurp nuclear launch authority?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If anybody in that chain of command has reason to believe that the president is not stable, is acting irrationally, absolutely.
Isn't that the definition, though, of a coup? Isn't that why we have the 25th Amendment? And there's not something in the Constitution that says the chairman gets to pull the launch codes himself?
What you said was, would the chairman and the others in that chain of command delay or not launch? It's something quite different. You're talking about really a nuclear war here. We're not talking about somebody sending off a Hellfire missile down into some car in Afghanistan. We're talking really about the end of life on this planet, a full-scale nuclear war. Absolutely. I would want Milley, I'd want anybody in that chain of command to be absolutely certain that this nation was under attack, that there were nuclear missiles or bombers that were headed towards the United States. This is not no small-time thing. This is extraordinarily important.
There's no question about that, and I know we're going to be coming back to you to talk about it both ahead of and after the chairman's testimony. Congressman, it's always good to see you, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Appreciate you making time. The next question that comes to mind here is what the